Hello, it's Tom Donald from the London Contemporary School of Piano. Today we're going to look at the chords and the flow in this beautiful piece of music by Bach, and that's his Prelude in C Major from the Well-Tempered Clavier, Book 1. I'll play you a few bars and I'm sure you'll recognise it. Now, we already have some chord tutorials and some practical tutorials on this piece of music on our YouTube channel. Today's tutorial is not a technical one, it's more so a theory one. We're going to be looking at his chord voicings and how they so beautifully flow together to make a beautiful, coherent composition. That's really the theme we're going to be exploring today with this piece, because there's so many pearls of wisdom in Bach's composing that we can apply to our lead sheet playing to improve the way we voice chords. This is real wisdom here. This piece was written in 1722, and this was before the piano was even invented. Bach wrote this music for the harpsichord, and yet everything you need and everything you hear in contemporary modern music is happening in this piece of music. Some things just really never change, and we don't necessarily give credit to the innovation that has happened centuries before us, the things that we just take for granted. This piece of music consists of major 7, dominant 7, minor 7 chords, and they interact with passing diminished chords the same way you hear in jazz. Yet the chords themselves are so elegantly voiced that the music tells a story. It tells a story and a narrative through the journey the chords take in the music, and that's what we're going to be exploring today. This is also a wonderful opportunity for you to really get to grips with a very, very important aspect of harmony that you might not be spending enough time on, and that's the differentiation of the different types of seventh chords. We have 3 types of seventh chords, and if you want to play any jazz piano, you really need to understand and conceptualize these 3 types of 7 chords. I call it the Holy Trinity of jazz chords, and the Holy Trinity is happening in Bach's piece as well here. This Holy Trinity is major 7, dominant 7, minor 7. You need to know those 3 variations of 7th chords really, really well. And then for a bit of bonus, diminished 7. You need to know that in as many keys as possible to really understand the development of this harmony. I've just done it in F as well. But of course, Bach is doing much, much more than that. He's really telling a story by putting these chords together in a combination and voicing them really nicely. So if I play the first few bars of the piece, we get a little idea on how he has arranged these chords. Stop there for a moment, and you saw those chords that I was playing, but how did I arrange them, or how did Bach arrange them, I should say, because I'm playing his notes here. What we were doing was, in the right hand, you would have noticed we were playing 3-note triads, or 3-note slices of the chords, and in the left hand we were playing 2 notes to accompany in the bass. So I'm now going to chord out the piece using Bach's exact voicing. And we're going to have a little look at an investigation to see what chords he's using. C major, that's his voicing of the C major. This is a D minor 7 with a C in the bass. Very smooth, isn't it, that change? Then we've got the G7 here with the B in the bass. Then the C major. This is a really interesting A minor with the C in the bass. He's taken out the 3rd in the right hand and put it into the bass. So it's an A minor over a C with this lovely open shape of an octave and a 5th interval. Then we have the D7 with the C in the bass. the G major with a B in the bass, the C major 7 with a B in the bass, the A minor 7, the D7, the G major 7. I mean, you think of chords like this with these sort of voicings, C major 7 with the B in the bass to an A minor. You hear this in modern jazz, these sort of voicings. But this is from 1722. And by the way, if you want a lead sheet of this piece to really look at the chord progression and analyze it and play it in different ways, you should head on over to our website to get our free resources kit, because it's part of the free resources kit. But this is a really useful tool to really analyze and practice the piece with. And we've got the D7 here, then the G major here, G diminished 7, D minor with the F in the bass, F diminished, C major with the E in the bass. Now again, we've got that open octave and fifth in the right hand. I'm just grooving it up a bit now. F major with the E in the bass, D minor 7 to G7, and that's the end of the first page of the piece. And the second page starts here on the C major. Such a beautiful balance of chords. Let me play that again. So when I reach that second page, I have some other lovely chord voicings here. If I chord it out, I can do the same thing I was doing before. F major 7, F sharp diminished 7. This is probably the hairiest chord of the whole piece. In arpeggiated form, it works much better. Of course, this is a passing note really, so really we don't count that note. It's really a G sharp or an A flat diminished 7 chord. And now we have some beautiful voicings here because he's keeping the left hand really stuck on that G in the bass and creating as much variation as possible by keeping this G on the bass to create tension. We call this technique pedal point, and it derives from organ music when you have your foot on the pedal, because on the organ the pedals are actually notes. You're keeping your foot on the same note and it's ringing underneath like a consistent bass underneath all the changes that are happening above. And this is exactly what happens here. We have G7, C over a G, G suspended 4th with the 7th, resolving to G7. Now have a diminished chord, an A diminished chord over the G, then a resolution to C major over the G, G suspended 7/4 again, resolve into G7, and we're thinking, okay, we're about to end this now, but no, bit of procrastination. We get another dominant 7 chord here, a C7 chord, leading us to an F major, which he arpeggiates like this. Adds a D to it, so it sort of turns it into a D minor. We have a C and a B, which might sound very uncomfortable, but when I arpeggiate the G7 chord in the right hand, it really works quite nicely as a G7 over a C. Finishing on that C major at the end. So Bach really creates this very beautiful musical narrative of chords. And if you're a songwriter or a composer, or you like to experiment with chord voicings, this piece of music is a masterclass. So head on over to our website to get the chord resources kit that we have, and you can look at the lead sheet we have for this piece for your study and for your play, because you're going to get so much from it. We go into these sorts of classical repertoire in our complete musician course in much more detail, not just this piece, but other famous classical pieces, because when you chord them out, you realize they're actually much more accessible and easier to play than you would have otherwise thought, such as the Moonlight Sonata. All that is beautiful broken chords. And in our complete musician program, we explore many different contemporary ways of playing piano, but there is also a classical module in the course where we explore classical music through the 4 pillars that the 21st century piano student needs to know about. Chords, 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 rhythm and groove, and bringing our chords to life with different grooves. And yes, there's even such things as classical grooves. You know, that is a groove. Just like this is a groove. Just like this is a groove. There are grooves in classical music as well, rhythms that work and bring chord patterns to life. And then the last pillar is arrangement and integration, combined with the third pillar, which is improvisation. Now, classical music has all of those things as well. So these pillars, which I speak about in many of these videos here, are not just applicable to jazz and popular music, they're applicable to classical music as well. In fact, they will give your classical playing a whole completely different bunch of fresh eyes. And many of you will find out that actually you do have the skill set to play classical music as well as popular music. It's all music at the end of the day, and we're all sitting on a piano, and these pillars are universal. So you should check out our complete musician program to really give you a system to navigate playing music in the 21st century, because piano students today, they want to do a bit of everything. They want to play a bit of jazz, classical, popular, whatever. They just want to do a bit of it. They want to do it all. They've got a big bucket list, maybe not a huge amount of time on their hands, but even if they do or if they don't, you need to have a structure and a resource, and that's what the Complete Musician Program's about. You can find out about the enrollment options for the course by visiting the link below. Or you can visit our website, contemporaryschoolofpiano.com, to find out more about the program. We would love to help you. We're delighted to help you. We've helped people from all over the world with their piano playing, not just looking for small improvements, but a big, massive change and transformation to the way you play music. And that's what we do. It's been a pleasure going through this beautiful piece of music with you, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.